Hey, we've got a minute here till the next session gets started. Can y'all see me? Pro tip, when I'm sharing my screen, if it's small, just double click on it and it will make it the big size. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to present some stuff. And then if I'm, if you want to toggle like the size of my head versus the size of my screen, just double click the smaller one and it will make it the bigger one. So that's pretty exciting. I hope you guys are pumped about learning about XD. I did a little networking. I got one in between the sessions, so that was cool. It was nice to meet some new people. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to have a new LinkedIn friend here soon. I hope you guys are having fun at the event. Can't wait to give away some prizes at the end, so stick around. We'll do some trivia and giveaways at the end. All right, so we're getting some folks in the room. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Remember my pro tip, my head's too big and the screen's too small. Double click on the screen and it will make it bigger, okay? Here we go. Okay, share. All right, I'm sharing my screen, so I'm probably looking like right now. I'm going to go ahead and open up my file and let's get going. So welcome everybody to Get the Must-Have Plugins. Da, 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 da. Good thing no one's home. My husband would be like, what's going on? So my name is Jamie Newsbach. I'm a strategic development manager at Adobe XD. I love working with Design Lab on all kinds of good XD goodness. And I'm here today to talk about what the heck is a plugin. All right, a plugin is like an additional thing, like a little extra something. It's like, the chocolate sauce to your sundae. You know what I mean? It adds like the nuts on top, or if you like chocolate chips, the sprinkles. It adds a specific feature to your platform. So this is common. Other tools do this too. You can add plugins to Photoshop. You can add plugins to Slack, any tools that you're using. There's these different integrations, where Adobe partners with different companies to integrate them into the tool. So it's really cool. And I'm going to show you some awesome ones. What this does is it allows you to do some customization, right? So maybe you're not so great at picking colors. This isn't your jam. You can get a plugin that helps you pick great color combinations. But okay, that's really useful for me. Or for example, if you're working on accessibility, like this is something that's important to you, your project is about making a design that's accessible for everybody, there's plugins for that too. And also, like I had mentioned, it integrates with other tools you're using. So Slack, Teams. We have integration with Alexa devices because we have voice prototyping. Frontify, if you're into design systems. Anima and Jira, which is a great project management tool. And even Behance. And if you're looking to get a job in UX, Behance is a great place to showcase your work. We even have a plugin for that. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of these plugins. All right. So the first things first, where are they? Plugins, hello, where are you? How do I find you? It's like you just look at the screen and it's pretty daunting, right? It's a lot of gray. Well, I'm going to give you a pro tip here. In the bottom teeny tiny corner, we have this Lego-like thing. This is where it is. Okay, way down here at the bottom, waiting to be discovered. Oops, I gotta zoom out now. Okay, so you find them down here. You can click on it that way, right? So here we are. I have plugins. You're gonna look and be like, wait a minute, I got nothing. There's nothing here. That's okay, because you haven't downloaded any yet. You don't have to have plugins. They're optional. They're not, but they're really cool. So you kind of want to have them. So I've already installed a bunch, right? So here's a bunch I've installed. You can also find plugins here in the top main menu. I'm going to click on it, and this is going to have nothing for you. Yours is going to be empty. Don't panic. Okay? You can come down here, you say Discover Plugins, and it's going to open up this cool screen. You can also find plugins in the plugins panel by hitting this plus sucker right there. And that will also open up the plugins screen. So we did it. We're looking, we're in the interface. We're going to find some plugins. Now, XD is trying to help you guys out. And it's going to give you options and recommendations depending on what it is you're looking for. Like I said, plugins are about customizing your solution. So, you might not want copywriting and localization, or maybe you do. They even have some recommendations for essential plugins. There's like editor's choice here. We're just in the discover mode right now. Here's that integration I was telling you about with, apps that you might already be using on your team. And as we scroll down, there's different collections. So if you're coming from another tool like Sketch and you really are attached to your plugins there, don't worry, we got them too. So you can come in and do your prototyping and all that good stuff. If you saw my previous session, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you need some design help, design systems, this is a big thing right now, you guys. I did something with Design Lab on design systems. Highly recommend you watch that because this is like kind of a trending thing in the UX industry and folks are talking about it a lot. So this might be something you encounter in a job interview. People might ask you what you know about it. Collaboration, tools and automation, usability and testing. I mean, what is UX if we're not testing? That's like kind of, we're like experimenters. Publishing and handoff and design assets, okay? You can just browse all of them here. You can see which ones you have installed because they have the green check mark. And then it gives you the option to install them here just with one click, which is pretty cool. So let's pick one to just randomly install. Let's install this one. And it's going to work on that, and boom, just like that, it's now going to be added over here to my thing. So down here at the bottom, you're going to see now user profile has been added. I haven't tried that one. And you can manage the ones that you've installed. You can update. So you see I have an update. I'm going to run that. It's going to do it real quick. And it's been updated, or you can update them all if there's more than one. And you can see which ones you have installed. Oh, Stark, we want to update that for sure. That's a good one. So you can see which ones you have installed here in this dialog as well. And this is where you can come manage that. If you want to take some out, maybe you're not using it anymore, you can do that here by disabling or uninstalling it. Okay, enough is enough. We want to see what these things do. So, you can do a ton of stuff in XD already. We know that XD is super cool, a super powerful tool. It's got all these incredible features, things that like blow your mind. But, again, there might be an instance where you just want to like get an icon. You could make an icon from scratch. You can go to the internet, you can try and find a UI kit or free icons or buy a stock icon. Well, there are already open source icons. And this plugin that I'm going to show you guys, write this down for later so you can install it, is called Icons for the number 4 Design. And if you look at this here, it's going to tell you a little bit about what it's doing here. These collections are free to use. They're very commonly used in the industry. Don't feel like you're stealing or anything because everyone does this because they're open source and free to use. The collections that are being incorporated in this plugin include Awesome, Feather, Iconic, Map, Material, all of these things that you may have heard of before. I mean, material design is a big deal, so maybe you've heard of material design. So what we're going to do here is, like, on this page, I want to add some social icons to the bottom, and that's always like so stressful finding those. So I'm going to type in, oops, if I can type, Facebook, for example. And here I'm going to determine what pixel size I want this thing to be. Maybe I want to be 40 pixels tall. And it's giving me, based on Awesome, Feather, Iconic, Metro, Simple, and Social, the options I have to place in these icons. So I'm going to select this one down here. And do you see what happened? It added it to the top corner of my artboard I had already selected. And now I can do things like even change the color. So now I've made this white. And I'm going to add it down here at the bottom. That's super huge. I don't like it. So I can either scale it right here in XD, or I can produce another one that's more the size I was thinking. So I'm going to go here, And now change that to white. And now I have one that's more about the size that I want, right? So pretty cool. You can do anything in here. You can even look for like a dog icon. You could put in a menu icon. I mean, there's so many ways. I literally use this plugin every single project I do, okay? This is huge. There was like a Twitter about what your favorite plugin was in XD, and I think everyone wrote icons for design. Download it, try it out. It's the best. Okay, so now, you know, during the process of making something, you might not have all the copy that you need. You might actually have to put in some placeholder copy until you're later down the process. But just for the sake of a prototype or a mock-up, you just want to be able to fill some copy spaces. So here I have some text and that it's already been styled, and I've selected a text box here. I'm going to use a plugin called Lorem Ipsum. So I can just go fill with placeholder text, right? And it's going to ask me what kind of Lorem Ipsum. And there's some funny ones out there, by the way, like, but these are the standard ones, not the funny ones. You can have punctuation marks if you want. You can have line breaks, etc. You can customize this a bit. I'm going to insert text, and boom, there's my placeholder text. I'm ready to rock and roll. I don't have to go to the website and copy it and paste it in here. I just go to my Lorem Ipsum plugin and drop this stuff all up in my design. So now that just makes it so much easier for me. What about you? But I like things that are easy. Okay, so we have this really cool page here, but you know, these locations are kind of floaty. They just kind of blend into the background. They really need some bullet points to make a point here. You know, we need these to like kind of exist on their own. So I'm going to click on this text box, and you can see these are all just kind of in a list here on their own. And I'm going to go to a plugin. You guessed it. It's named Bullet. I can pick between round, square, or numbers. So I'm going to pick round, and it went ahead and added bullets. Yay! There's another one that just got released. Actually, it's called Lists. This one's like a little bit fancier version of that, so you can make a list. Now, it can give you the option for an ordered list, which just means that's numbers instead of bullets, or unordered. The spacing, how much padding, you can do all this good stuff. So let's select something. You can apply that, and it's going to make it the numbers now. Okay, so 2 ways you can make a list in XD plugins. Pretty cool. Oh, look at this, you guys, puppies. Oh, you can take your dog here and it can get a bath. How great. So I've mocked up this design and it's really great and all, but I need an avatar image because, you know, today we're all online. We got to see your face. We want to see your face. We want to know who you are. Everyone's got a profile somewhere. And, you know, I don't want to put my own face in this design. That's weird, you know. I don't want to like randomly grab a picture off the internet because that's not cool either. You might be violating some copyright law or something. But I want to have somebody in here to make this feel more realistic. Otherwise, it just looks like a gray dot. And that's not what my design intent is. So UI faces. This is a really fun one. So again, talking about open source. So similar idea to icons for design. UI Faces is giving you options for these open source places. I'm going to select them all because I'm just really kind of curious what's going to happen here. I can even do filters, so I can put an age range if I want younger people or older people, male or female. I'm going to put female. She's going to be super happy because this is about dogs. Dogs are awesome. I don't care what hair color. So you can select photos or you can apply randomly. I personally like the apply randomly because, you know what, everybody's random. So we're going to let that work in the background. We have our circle selected. And let's see who we get. There's even like celebrities. Perfect. She looks really happy about the dog spa. This is so great. So I can change this if I want. Maybe we have a neutral person who's a man. Apply randomly. This is like addicting, truthfully. It's really fun. Okay, so it's working. Ah, Is that a celebrity? He looks like he's in front of like a step and repeat, like at like the Emmys or something. Maybe you guys know who he is. Put it in the chat. Okay. UI faces, everybody. It's a good one. I really like talking about plugins. There's just so many. I don't even think I understand them all. It's like not even possible. All right, surfing. We need a picture of a surfer here. Okay, we've done all this work. We're taking it to the next level from a wireframe to high fidelity. Okay, we're going to go to stock image. And I've showed this one before. This one's a great one. I really like this. So basically you can connect XD to Adobe Stock, okay? And what that's going to do is allow you to search and find images, right, from Adobe Stock and use them in your design. So I don't have it connected. That's all right. You don't need to. And you can download those high-res versions too, right here in your design. So I'm just going to search for surfing, surf, and see what happens. Remember, I have this selected on my artboard because it's got to know where the picture is going to go, right? So let's pick some of these. So we've gotten these options here for surf. I really think I want like a surfer in the picture. This one looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to click this blue check mark and hit apply. Cool. Look at that. It's a low res version of that in there for my, mock-up. Well, maybe I want to change it to this one. So I'm going to hit that one and hit apply. And I can do this as many times as I see fit until I find the exact right picture that's going to work for my design. So how cool is that, you guys? So really awesome way, another way it integrates with XD. Okay, so I'm going to talk about an important subject. So accessibility, what does that mean? Being accessible means that we're making experiences that are for everyone. So closed captioning is super important for those that are deaf. We want them to be able to participate in what we're doing. People with vision issues, we got to make sure that we accommodate and that our color combinations support people who may be getting older. Look, I got my Zoomers on. This is what happens, I have great vision when I was young. I'm getting old. It's natural. It's going to happen to you too. So we want to make sure that we're designing experiences that are accessible, okay? There's lots of ways we can do that. XD has voice prototyping. That really helps. I don't know about you, but my dad talks to the remote because he can't really see what's happening. And he goes, put on, the weather channel. That's an important accessibility feature, is using voice as a trigger instead of having to tap or click something. Now we're going to talk specifically about a plugin called Stark. And what this does is it generates for vision issues. The person who made this plugin is super passionate. I highly recommend you look into it. Now the one I'm going to use today is called Colorblind Simulation. So it opens up a little dialogue here and it gives me some options with different vision disorders to choose and see what my design would look like in their eyes. There's some here that are marked pro, so there's a free and a pro version. And yes, some plugins are paid and you have to have an account to use them, but some are free. And the ones I'm showing you today are the ones that you can use for free, because I felt like that was really important. Okay, so let's try a couple of these. Wow, what a difference. So if you have this color blindness type, look at how different that looks like from the regular version. Isn't that crazy? Okay, let's do this. Let's try this one. Again, that purple's really not, if you're colorblind on the screen right now, you might be experiencing a different experience than all of us. Now these get more muted with this one. So you can kind of come here and see, how this is working. But even deeper than that, Stark can communicate to you the different ratios between colors. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to select just this pink and this white text on top of the pink. So you have to have two things selected, right, to check contrast, because we're the contrast between two things. So white text on pink. So now I'm going to come to Stark and check contrast. Whoa. So what does this all mean? There's a certain ratio that the Web Consortium has determined as adequate for different vision issues. And you can see that this pink on white does not even pass the ranking for A or AAA compliancy with that ratio. And you can see it's showing even if the text is bigger, it still wouldn't pass. That's not good. Well, what's cool about this design is I actually have 3 different color combinations I can try here. So now let's see how the purple works with the white text. Oh, we're getting there, you guys. Look, for big text, it's pretty much good to go. Even normal text, you know, is going to be all right to some point. But then there's going to be a point where it's not all right anymore. But that's really much better. It's 5.2. And now let's check this last one. And we have a winner. So this contrast combination obviously totally flies. So this is important when we're thinking about even creating a brand, working with companies that have existing color palettes. A lot of brands are thinking about this. It's really unfortunate that most sites are not built accessibly with that in mind. I've worked on several companies where we went back and did that. So Stark, super helpful for that. Definitely recommend you guys check that out. All right, so I wanted to talk about Google Sheets. I gotta open something now because I forgot to have it open. I'm gonna find it. We're gonna go here, get my Google Sheet. Here we go. All right, so Google Sheets is great because you're able to integrate directly with a Google Sheet. What does that mean? Okay, well, I'm gonna show you. So sometimes we have like real data. Like this might come from like a stakeholder within your company. You might be working with other folks on the team. And here we are, we have different movie titles, release dates, scores, and even some links to pictures. So if we open this, you'll see this just opens this image here of the movie cover. So this is pretty cool. So we have this data sheet. We have the link to this. Now I'm going to come back to my XD file. And I'm going to go to my Google Sheets. Where are we? So this plugin here, keep going here, Google Sheets. So I'm going to select my source as a URL link, okay? Oh, it was already in there. So the spreadsheet link is there. So I'm gonna hit return. I gotta select my thing. I wanna select these. So we have to select something here. So now it's like asking me what I want. So I've selected my group of objects here. So a thing with plugins you need to remember is a lot of times they're going to prompt you to select something on the artboard. Like with the stock image, it has to know where the images are going to go. It's the same thing here with Google Sheets. It's got to know where it's going to go. So that spreadsheet I just showed you, I'm going to open this now. I pasted this here and I'm going to import that. So it's working on importing. And now it's going to map the data from here into these spaces that I have here based on my layer names. So you can see I have audience score, movie title, and thumbnail, all layered, named in these grouped items. So back to plugins. So it's going to say movie title will map to movie title. Audience score will map to audience score. And that's just mapping to the layer named audience score. So I've made it easy on myself and I named it the same thing as the column of data in my Google Sheets. Thumbnail is going to map to thumbnail, right? And so on. So box is just the white box and I don't want anything to map there because I want it just to remain empty. So now watch what happens. Wow, so it started filling in all of this data. Now what I did wrong here is that I didn't select this last box. So let's try this again. It's going to remember that sheet. We're going to import it again. Let's try this again. Okay, and we're going to hit apply. There. So now it just applied all of this movie information right here into my XD file, guys. So what's great is that this is connected. So if I come back here and maybe name this like cool movie, right? And I'm gonna go hit this again, refresh. It's gonna change that to cool movie to match the data in my spreadsheet. How awesome is that? So now we're talking like the power of XD being amplified by being able to connect back to a Google Sheet filled with data that I can use in my designs. So those are some of the most powerful, best, coolest plugins. So I'm going to come back to the hop-in and take some questions. Okay, here I come. And I'm going to stop sharing so you guys don't see my crazy infinity. Okay, so I'm going to check over here. So yes, it looks like CG is asking if we'll be able to access these plugins afterwards. So you can, I'll put the name of them in here, icons for design, and make sure that you're writing these down on your side, okay, guys? There's lorem ipsum, there's bullet. I'm writing them in the chat, you guys. Write these down because I don't know if we're going to be able to send these later. UI faces, stock photo, Stark, Google Sheets. Okay. Also, no, the plugins don't bog down XD, and you may have used tools where that happens before. The way we built XD is that the way the code is that the plugins, when you update XD, your plugins do not break. So it does not slow down your XD. You know what? I want to show you guys one more. Since there aren't many questions, there's a couple other accessibility ones. Let me go back. These were all free. Stark has a pro plan if you want it. Let me share my screen again real quick. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this. Let me find the other, let's see if I even have it. There's one other accessibility one that I don't know the name of, but that's okay. So, hey, since we have a couple more minutes, Mimic. This is a fun one too. So write this down on that list I was sending you guys. So let's do this. Let's go here. Try Design Lab's website. I'm going to copy the URL to Try Design Lab. Okay. So what I'm doing this for is because Mimic, if you are working with a pre-existing grant, so you might be hired by a startup or a nonprofit to do some work on their website, and you don't want to start from zero. That takes too much time. So I'm going to type in the URL here and hit extract. So now it's working in the background. This is called Mimic. Write this down. And they extracted some really useful things for me, you guys. Look at this. It's telling me the fonts that are used on Design Lab's website, the colors that Design Lab was using, and check this out, even some of the images that Design Lab has on their site. So if you're doing starting a wireframe or rebuilding some of the flows on a customer site, you can come here and see that Mimic will actually pull some of that data down for you. You can even use a plugin. Let's look at Wireframer real quick. So Wireframer is great because it pulls actual templates for you. Wireframer, write this down, everybody. Get a pen and paper. So if I want to chat screen, I just type in chat and I hit plus, and boom, it adds a chat window right here to my design. So I can actually click this, edit this, do all kinds of fun stuff with it. Maybe I can use some of Design Lab's colors to start designing this chat thing. So maybe we don't want it to be this blue. I'm going to pick up Design Lab's purple and change that. And then, you know, I know Design Lab's font now, so I can change this to the font that I want to be Proxima Nova. So Wireframer is great. Instead of having to install a whole UI kit or download a UI kit, it's basically searching a UI kit for you and giving you some examples. So profile, pretty cool. You can get profiles there too. And last but not least, Whiteboard. So XD is really a great tool for every step of the process. And I mean every step. So Whiteboard gives you templates. So at the beginning of a UX process, we're probably doing things like making a card sorting exercise or a customer journey. Have you heard the term persona before? Well, all of this stuff is actually in XD, right? So we can pull out, let's pull out the design thinking canvas. So I click on the template and it adds it to my XD. And now what's cool is it comes with instructions, so you can get those instructions, and you're able to move these elements around. So part of the process of this brainstorming is actually collaborating with others. Well, if you save your XD file as a cloud document, you can enable co-editing, and you can actually have other designers in the file with you in real time. And you're able to come here and use the Whiteboard templates and start filling this out together. So again, really, really cool and powerful. So I just like whipped out 3 more plugins right there. So let me come back to the chat and see what's happening. Heads have exploded because my head has exploded. Yeah, so that was Mimic, that was Wireframer, and Whiteboard, right? Yes, XD does have an integrated code view. There are other plugins though too. We have integrations with like Zeppelin and other things like that, but there's a built-in share mode in XD that does an amazing job at giving CSS snippets, hexadecimal codes, even downloadable images to your developer all via one link. So it's pretty great. Definitely similar to what maybe you've used before. Yes, use Mimic during your UX Academy, everybody. It will be really helpful for you if you're doing like an industry project or you're doing a case study on an existing brand. And I hope you guys found these plugins helpful. Don't forget that you can co-edit and collaborate in real time in XD. And I hope you guys try it out. And it's time to network. And after this, we're going to do prizes. So stick around. Thank you for joining my session. It was great to see everyone. Thanks, guys.